A little later than I thought. Hey, everybody, welcome to another chat, Tuesday night chat over here on the Mr. Fun Fisher backup channel. It seems to work, so we're going to run with it for right now. I have yet to hear not one thing from YouTube about the strike I got, so just going to have to wait it out. I guess it'll be another month or two, and it'll finally be up. But until then, we got a great panel here. Mr. Midas Welby, Coda Boy 32, and I'm not sure what name you're going under now, so I'll just let you introduce yourself, Luke. Go ahead, Midas. You want to do an intro, man?
No, I've been super busy. Just got over a cold, still getting over it. But glad you sent me a link, TR. Thanks for that. Good to see Coda. Good to see Luke over there. He's I remember him from when I first started, and I asked him a question, just a total random question, and he answered it. I was like, hell yeah, that was like a milestone in my YouTube life. So it is cool to know him for all these years. And just chilling, man. Just been busy and hanging out. Season's changing. That like everyone has a cold, so it kind of sucks, but otherwise doing good.
Cool. All right, hang on. Where am I at? Well, as far as the cold, hell, I've been through one. I still ain't quite got over it. Damn tool monkey had walking pneumonia. Yeah, it's going around, no doubt.
Yeah.
Coda Boy, you want to do an intro, man?
Well, I'm Coda Boy 32. It appears that Midas has a Milwaukee's best.
Hell yeah. And, always, bro.
Yeah, Milwaukee. And just hanging out for a few minutes before bedtime. And I just appreciate being here and supporting the channel there, TR. And looking forward to seeing you here pretty soon, hopefully, in the upcoming next, what? I don't know, whatever. Well, anyway, we'll see you then.
Yep. And Luke, would you like to do an intro, man?
Well, yeah, certainly. First and foremost, I was glad to hear from you this evening, saying, "Hey, we're going to do a little chat, get together. Let's do it up." And that was exciting. So that was kind of a highlight of my week, maybe even my month, quite frankly. But anyways, good to stay with you, Midas. Good to see you. Certainly, I don't get a chance to actually see you all that often, and that's always neat. And I think I remember actually what you were talking about, by the way. But yeah, I got really nothing else really going on. Busy. I got a family, still a young family, I guess, in that sense. So I'm busy with work and so on. But a couple of questions right off the get go. Number one, TR, I'm amiss to what exactly you're talking about with your other channel. So there must be something going on there, and maybe the legend down at the other end of the hallway here. The guy with 300,000 views on a video, for Pete's sake. You know what I mean? In a matter of just, it's the thing that happens on my channel. Anyway, maybe he can shed some light onto that. Maybe what happened to your channel.
Sure, I can do that. It's really bullcrap. What happened was they gave me a strike for a video that I had posted years ago. And it was when I was big into getting everything prepared and into radios and all this stuff. And then there was this, I won't call it viral, but like everybody in the prepping community was just mirroring a video. It was no talking. It was just script. It was a black video with script, and it come up and it was talking about a MERS channel, which is similar to, the closest I can explain it, it's like a CB channel. Like anybody in America can go buy a CB, and you can talk on a CB, and you don't have to have a license. You don't have to register. You don't have to do anything. You can just talk on it. Well, MERS is similar, but it's more like a handheld, like a walkie-talkie, or kind of like the ham radios, like the Bufongs and Watsons and everything people have. But there's like 5 channels that are free to use, and it was saying this is a good prepper frequency for everybody to get a radio that uses MERS, and here's a frequency to listen to if shit hits the fan. Maybe some local people around you can be like a news, and that's all the video was, real, like a minute long, if that. Well, they struck it, sent me the email telling me I was promoting illegal activities and
illegal activity.
legal blah blah blah, that we will not promote illegal activities and all that. So I wrote a little. I mean, only give you a little bit of time, a little bit of so many words to make your case. So I've explained it wasn't an illegal frequency. Anybody could use it, and I included a link to the what is it? FFA? Not FFA. It's whatever. Damn, I should know this. I got a license. But
FCC?
Yeah, FCC. I gave them a link, included a link to the FCC talking about MERS radio and the channels, the frequencies. Nothing. And the only thing that restricted me is I can't do a live chat. That's the only thing it done. It's still monetized. I can make videos, blah, blah, blah. That's the only thing they restrict you on your first strike is you can't do a live chat.
You're never going to get that 3 minutes that it took you to kind of come up with what you wanted to say and put that down in that little box for YouTube, eh? You're never going to get that 3 minutes back, buddy. It's gone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I had to at least, put in my, because they give you an option here. Click this link.
Grievance.
One shot to give your case. And it's like, we word it the best you can, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, they give you about 13 words to do it in, which really sucks. Waking up did you get an email in the morning?
It may have come in the middle of the night or something like that. Like I checked my emails in the morning, or I don't think it was during the day. I don't remember it being during the day.
I can remember I'm waking up in the morning and like I had to shake my head and go, what is this? And it was like, you've received a community guideline strike. And I was like, started laughing. I was like, well, I guess that's, you're made the big times when you've got a community guideline strike. But the problem is I got another one the next morning. And that's when I had to shut my channel down. It sucked.
Yeah.
They don't give a shit.
Mm-mm.
I don't care about the little guy. The little guy,
Well, it's a bunch of millennials.
Hot damn bureaucrats, motherfucker.
Well, it's not even bureaucrats. You got to figure it's who Google owns it, and it's a bunch of adolescents, basically.
That's even worse.
It's a bunch of
the people that do the reviews. The largest number of people are here in the state, but the second largest are in India. So if you got hit overnight, it was probably somebody in India reviewing the video.
And what it was, somebody that actually, it even stated that somebody like asked, like flagged it for illegal activity or whatever, however they worded it.
Yeah.
And it just like saying it was a frequency, a radio frequency, and just immediately boom. And the thing about it is, I don't even think it said anything, because it even said in the video as the little text was going up, about if you're unsure about this, blah, 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 get with the, because the guy, whoever posted the video, it was meant to be mirrored and re-shown on several channels to get the word out, listen to this channel, listen to this frequency. And it said something about get in touch with whoever is posting this video to find out more about this frequency, blah, blah, blah. The thing about it is anybody can listen to ham radio. You do not have to have a license to listen to ham radio. You just have to have a license to talk on it. But it wasn't even ham radio. It was a free frequency, just like a CB. So it was just bullshit. And they don't care, and they probably throw out so many strikes they don't even review them.
They don't. Once you get above a certain amount, like I think if you were above 25,000 subscribers, you could actually chat online with somebody, and I had to renew my channel to get my subscribers back so that I could actually talk to somebody. And after I did that, it was like 72 hours later that the strikes were removed.
That makes sense. That they would give you a bigger channel would have a little bit better access to contact them, and at least through email, you know, or something.
They got to make a cutoff somewhere, right? And there's certainly a vested interest in somebody who's over that particular amount, especially if it's a lot of view time, because that's advertising dollars per se. So I understand that. I understand the last formation, certainly, or the transformation that YouTube took with demonetizing certain channels in that aspect. They only got so much server space. I can understand a little bit about servers, right? And they're expensive, okay? Just a server, let alone banks and banks and banks of this shit. So I understand some of that. And furthermore, I mean, you know, GB Survival Channel, I woke up one day and it was just gone. But there was nothing. Right. And I emailed them certainly and to try to get some answer. It took me, geez, I don't know, maybe 72 hours before I got a response saying that, you know, I deleted the channel. I'm like, I sure as hell did not. You know what I mean? Like, it's not even something you'd make a mistake of. So, and I don't know, but I never got a strike, a community strike. So I've never got one of those notices ever. So I don't know, you know, but I think they can. Obviously they have the ability, and it's not going to get, you know, oops. And it's even furthermore, it's like, well, can I get the channel back? Can you just kind of flick the switch or something? No, it's gone. It's like, oh. So
that was the thing when I had to take my channel down. You're basically making it invisible to all the subscribers. I didn't know that you temporarily lose your subscribers. And I think at the time I had like 40,000 or something like that. And, you know, it took me a lot longer than it takes most people to get to that point. And, when it did that and it said you have 0 subscribers, I almost just shit myself, because that's like all the hard work, all your family members, everybody, and then come to find out it takes like 2 weeks to get everybody back once you renew it, because you have to come visible again. You want to talk about a nervous wreck when you're doing it, because you're like, okay, I'm getting ready to delete my channel, you know, and everything with it. So it's a scary event.
Yeah, I mean,
I bet you reread that email a few times before you did it, though.
Well, it was the instructions on how to do it, because there's a lot of people online to go, okay, this is how you make your YouTube channel invisible, and nobody said you were going to lose. All your subscribers just disappear. You don't lose them; they just disappear. So you're like freaking out, man. But it was wild, for sure. But I
remember those days of no subscribers, uphill both ways, no shoes on in the snow. It was rough.
In the snow. It was. Crazy.
It is.
I've said it many times. I didn't even know people could subscribe to you. When I started YouTube, I didn't have a freaking clue how it worked. I didn't even know people could see my videos.
Man, when you told that story, I near died. I'm sitting there going, "Is that right?" I say, at least when I started my channel, I had a good idea of how it worked in that sense. When I remember, because when I got my first subscriber, mine was different from TR's. Mine was like, "All right, here we go," and he was like, "What the fuck is that?"
12 subscribers, man. I had a couple of friends of mine subscribe. I was like, woohoo! But I can remember waking up the next morning going, "Oh my god, dude, I got 50 views." Yes, it's just every step of the way was an accomplishment, I don't know, maybe I look at YouTube as more, it has a purpose. I have a big extended family, because the farm chats and all the other stuff. That's one of the primary reasons I do it. But then there's also the challenge of the continued growth of the channel. It's an internal challenge to myself to keep things rolling. I push it hard, man. It sucks sometimes because you just want to take a break. But then you've got somebody like Midas who, is right there with you. He's motivating you the whole way. You got to do this, man. You got to go. So it's for you, Midas. It's for you.
Yeah, you got to push on. Don't let the man beat you down.
Yeah, I don't think I ever really found my niche, and maybe I jumped around too much, or maybe I didn't take it serious enough. I mean, I did pretty good, had a good run there for a while, but at the same time, I kind of quit pushing to get new subscribers. I just kind of made videos when I felt like it, instead of not making it a job, but instead of trying to grow the channel, I just kind of, all right, I got a base, and just let me maintain, and I'm just having fun with it, But you definitely went the route to not saying you made a job out of it, not saying you did anything wrong by no means, but you have like your gun reviews are very consistent. You do the same thing pretty much with every gun you test, you know, and it's a reliable review. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah,
Dependable.
but I tell you what, I still refuse to get too terribly serious with it. You know, I want to keep everything about the same as it is right now, but because I feel like there's a good I am me. I've been told people, sorry, the pills are kicking in, but people have told me that the reason we like your channel is because you are who you are. You're not trying to overdo it. You're not trying to overproduce it. It's just a one-on-one, and you're not trying to come across as a damn professional, which I'm not. So I love it, and I love doing it, man. But ultimately, dude, it's all about the family members. It really is. I look forward to that Friday evening more than anything. It's always fun.
There's different stages of YouTube or creating a YouTube channel, I find, and different experiences. And I think for the most part, I'd like to think that it's kind of the same way for everybody to a certain extent. And then you get to a point. Now, what that point is, I don't know, or that threshold of maybe subscribers or views or whichever. And there's other factors, I'm sure. But in that beginning, like we all talked about, we all, were excited, very excited in the very beginning when you got those first subscribers or those first comments or the first dialogue or even maybe a first few thumbs down where it kept you up almost. You're sitting there going, what the hell did I say wrong on this damn thing? Jesus, everybody else seems to be happy with it. Who the hell thumbs me down? And then the next day you're sitting there going, okay, and you looked right for the thumbs down the next one because you'd had it once. So again, these transitions are going through for the channel. And again, you get to that point where people, and maybe this is a hard thing, but and TR can speak really well to this, certainly with 2 years plus under his belt with hosting a chat. It's almost a hard thing to let go of because people are counting on you. It's a reliable source to go to for entertainment, to find your friends, you know what I mean, on a particular night, and people gather there, and that's the thing that drives you back to making those videos or showing up every chat. So it's interesting. It's really interesting.
I would have to say that I met some of my best friends that I've found on YouTube now. It's interesting. All right, well, guys, before things get too crazy.
Before it gets too crazy, Coda, did you shoot that AK with a new scope in that last video? Do you got a follow up to that yet?
Yeah, I was supposed to do that today, and then I had a guy that called me and said he had to meet me, and it was right when I was supposed to go to the range. And unfortunately, that's the guy that pays the bills. So I'll be going out tomorrow, and I decided that range video is going to be just shooting. Guys, here's the process. This is what happens before we go to the long range. You got to chrono the damn thing. You got to zero it. We want to check to see where point of impact is at 100. Because I've got a short range right up the road from it. It's about 30 minutes away. And document all the stuff, see what the difference is between wolf ammo and that new cellular Beloit stuff. And then probably about another month, I'll be running out to the long range because that's going to be a full day event. I got a bunch of other stuff I got to do. But no, I haven't shot it yet. But
looks like a sweet setup. Like I'm interested to see what's going to happen. Because that whole reticle, the AC SS, and you're happy with that AK, so I like to see how it performs with that scope on it.
The most impressive thing about that AK is the trigger. It's on ball bearings. It's so smooth. It's ridiculous. When you pull it, it pulls, and that's where you keep it on. And I don't know if you remember seeing the video when I was hammering the 400 and 500 yard targets with that thing, man. That's a long reach for an AK. And I'm going to try to take it out to the 600 with this thing. But I was looking at it last night. There's a lot of areas where there could be movement. You've got the side mount plate. You got the side mount. Then you got the scope mount, the ring. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of opportunity for movement. So there's
like 3 points.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. If it stays locked down, I may consider just leaving that thing on the AK because hold on one second. because it does look
it's right there. Oh,
Look at it.
hell yeah. Ah, woo. That thing is sweet.
man. That looks badass. And I'm going to take the furniture off of this one because this is the stuff with the loose wood on it. I don't mind that either because that, hell, it's an AK. But look at that, man. Is that just not bad as hell?
That's bad as hell. Dude, if you painted that dust cover the same color as the wood, like that crimson red, man, that would be hot.
Look at that. Watch that trigger. Watch how smooth it is. It's just, the only problem with it is the scope mount. It's too high. So you really have to set up really high on it. But, you get used to it. But look at that.
Yeah, if you wanted it any lower, you would have to get a mount like a low rise.
Yeah.
But
well, probably I can get the low rings and just use rings instead of using
or you could switch the stock that has an adjustable or addable, rise on it. Like I think the Magpul, one of those, it's almost like the triangle stock, but you could put bigger cheek welds on it.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't know what I'm going to do with that thing yet. I don't want to put too much money into it because I kind of dig the furniture. But it's got to go if you want to be tactical.
Tactical.
Testicular.
Yes. I look forward to the new video whenever you put that shit out on the range. That's awesome.
I'm probably going to put, one of the things that I'm trying to do, because like I said, the political 2A stuff pays the bills. Those are the big viewer videos. But I'm alternate. One day I'll do a Second Amendment news video, and then one day we'll do something on firearms. Like right here. There's a reason I got a Dremel tool with me.
Dremel life.
Dremel life, yep. Because there's a I got a Polymer 80 and a new slide coming. But anyway, it's a lot of fun. But before I pass out on camera, I'm going to go ahead and go. So I'm in the up and up. But you guys be good. TR, thank you so much for having me on. I greatly appreciate it. We love you guys. Canadian super stud. It's always good to hear your voice and your age, and the oots. And I love that. Love that accent. And then Midas, big hugs and love, brother. Always.
Thank you, Coda. Returned. Super did us.
It's so special. It's just my Midas. It's so fun. How's that phone working out, man?
It is a big upgrade to the life. It's like, holy crap, I can't believe I was missing out on this much easement.
All right, while I'm still on here, can you just elaborate to everybody how long you actually use the fucking flip phone?
Dude, 2012 was my last phone upgrade. And most of the guys could tell you, I started complaining because I could not mute the chat during my work day, and it was freaking me out because my phone is my business. So every 5 seconds I was checking my phone. I was like, dudes, cut me loose. They're like, no, you gotta upgrade. And a good brother fucking Solar, Curious Yellow Solar, hooked me up with an upgrade phone right here. So brought me into the new world. I've been happy. It's crazy. Yeah.
Hey guys, y'all be good.
Later, Coda boy.
Take care.
Peace.
Bye. Oh, I gotta hang up now. Yeah. See you.
All right, what else we got going on? What's going on with you, Luke? Anything you talk about? Anything on your mind?
Well, I don't know. It's no, I don't know. I've been doing a little thing like I said, when I get some time in the evening, and I'm trying to just kind of really just to relax and chill out a bit, and kind of everything's done, settled with. I've been watching a little bit of YouTube here and there, certainly some of the channels. A couple things that have popped up there that kind of made me wonder. I was talking to a friend of mine over in Europe, and he was starting to investigate some of the journeys. Now, these are ancient journeys, but we're talking about year 1000, you know what I mean, kind of thing. But it got me thinking about a couple other things, certainly, and about how certainly we, in modern day times, how it's not much different from even Roman days, for instance, when certainly truths could be manipulated or victors told the story. So lately, I've been kind of cluing into that, the other side, or the potential story of something, and it could be various things. So it's been actually taking a bit of my time looking for to be informed, so I would have an informed state of mind. Nice.
Nice, real nice.
Yeah, there you go. So that's kind of what's been, again, work has been just, where it's a lot of growth in my industry. No pun intended, but it's a lot of growth in my industry. So it's just so many moving parts. And I've been promoted 3 times within a very short period of time. And that was just out of necessity because the corporation is growing so fast, explosive growth. So like I said, that's been taking up an immense amount of my time in the last year, really. Just trying to keep up with that and do my job that I've been hired to do. So it's it's been taking quite a bit. Family's healthy, everything's fine that way. We're in the deer season here, which is kind of neat. I see Blue. Blue has, I think he's got 6 episodes up of his deer hunt there. I've been watching that, so that's kind of exciting. He thinks it's long and drawn out, and I say, nah, let her roll, buddy. Let the video roll. I look sitting there like this. I'm so close to the freaking screen. I'm trying to look through the trees just like he is. I'm going, oh, stop, being steady right here. I think I seen something. And I'm talking to him. Meanwhile, he can't hear me. So that's been kind of neat.
What about I know how the liberal media is here in the States, and it's probably not much different there. Maybe even worse. I don't know. What is the talks about the new Canada, Mexico, America pact? Is it been a lot of talk about that there? Or?
Yeah, worst deal ever. Here's the thing. Trump, I think, was right on a lot of different aspects about the NAFTA agreement. Things change, you know what I mean? Once you get an idea and you put it on paper and it's in the early phases, certainly it's going to be open to change. It's going to morph a little bit. Certain things are going to get established. Certain people are going to be a little higher on the scale, and it's imbalanced by nature, really. So it probably needed an overhaul to some degree, especially when you're talking about trade, and so much changes, so relationships change, within the United States, certainly into Mexico would be a really great example. And again, presidents, you know what I mean, and the rulers of our country, right, or the main advisors, certainly they change. So we learn things, technology changes, all these little different things. I say this all very carefully, though, because I don't want to give ammunition to certainly the retards on the other side that tend to think that certain documents will start changing along with it. And I say, well, now let's be careful there. That's a very slippery slope. But yeah, I think that you're right to some degree. There in some issues, we're probably a little bit worse up here in Canada than the United States. But when you're talking about certain trade, there's certain things that we want to hang on to. Look, our dollar is always going to be undermined to your dollar. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, or at least that's really the running stats on that. So that has something to play with. There's no doubt about that. So some trade, I think that we were taking our time with it because there were certain that, dairy is one of them, and we would certainly, if you guys were looking at it, say we're raping the United States on that and have been for some time. But when you think about it, if that's a really strong industry up there, why would we want to undermine it and go into a deal that would take us with potential ups and downs? So I think that it's, we're getting the story or the narrative that they want to tell us too. So we have to be very careful on that and which side you're listening to, because through propaganda, you can be torn one way and it can support all your ideologies of looking at the potential new agreement. So like I said, there's so much chatter up here about that, and that there's certain things, the tariffs, for instance, we're getting kind of messed over, and it's certainly kind of hurting us up here. But we're also having GM, General Motors, getting ready to pull out, and they're probably going to pull out more than just one plant, and that's going to be a devastating hit certainly to Ontario, which is one of the larger, certainly, and most populated and industrious provinces up here in Canada. So it's going to hurt our bottom dollars, no doubt about that. And Alberta's already in trouble with the oil. They're again, we're back into a slump there. So a lot of problems.
Now I can't say 100% it's exactly what Trump says it is. I mean, but anyway, from what I gather from the attitude and the onset, it seemed to be that, to me, it was the way I saw it is like we wasn't really putting tariffs on anybody. Some charts I seen, it was not even 1%. Maybe I'm not seeing it all. I don't know. But yet we was being charged a lot by other countries when we exported. So I think that it was just throwing some ammo at it instead of just empty talk. It's like, okay, well, this is what we're going to do. We're going to put a tariff on this, 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 and this. And then hopefully you come to the table and you lower your tariffs and we'll lower ours. I think the end goal was to really have pretty much no tariffs. I'm not saying maybe not zero, but that was more the goal, to even it out. It was just unfair the way it was going.
Right. There's a couple of different races happening too, though. You've got the agreements in place, certainly for trade, but there's also industry. So the United States is saying, let's make America great again. Let's also say that if you're gonna take a business and you're gonna take it elsewhere, any part of your business, and take it elsewhere, and you want to bring that product back in after you've taken those jobs elsewhere, you're going to get hit. You're going to get hit hard. To me, that would make a lot of sense, right? And to keep business here. If you're going to take an American business and try to coax them back home again, why are we having GM plants up here and, you know what I mean, General Motors up here in Canada start to close? Well, I mean, that could be a big part of it. Tariffs could be another part of it, certainly. Or the projection of where those agreements we have in place, or the ones we're going to finalize here, what's that going to look like for the future? And so they have a lot of smarter people than I can assure you of that. Rosie's probably working for some of these people, quite frankly, and advising them, hey, this is what you need to do. You need to do, B, C, and E, just to make sure that, you can maintain through the hardships that could come. We don't exactly know either what financial crisis could be looming that other people might already know about.
Yeah.
If
we know from years ago chats that we all know, anybody that's looked into government and finances and money flow and all that, we're always on the verge of a financial collapse, or at least a really hard recession at any moment. No matter how good everything's going, it could just crash down tomorrow. And I don't even know if you could always point somebody to blame, because we're all living on it's almost like a trust thing. We just trust that this paper's worth something. We trust that this plant's going to be open. There's nothing really concrete holding it together other than faith in each other's business and money. And it's all faith-based, I would guess is the way you'd say it.
I would agree with you, and I think that that's been definitely said about our currency is the transformation from a gold-backed, currency to a fiat currency, where the Federal Reserve could just make up money just basically out of thin air and say, well, you need more money, no problem. We just make it out of thin air, and we're going to give you the money, and we're going to charge you interest on it. Well, where else do you ever see anything like that? Nowhere. So I think certainly the faith in certain things was certainly lost, and a false faith was put into something else, that it works, providing everybody has faith in it. And that's really what makes it work. And that's certainly almost the basis of the stock market to some degree, isn't it? They have faith in a particular stock and everybody keeps trading in that commodity, or they keep pushing money into that commodity and it goes up, or people lose faith in it and they start to bail on it. Well, the American dollar really is no different, I don't think. And what even as a Canadian, I think that I can talk broadly about it to some degree, because really we're America, in one sense, in that sense being that whatever happens to you guys, we're basically in it, right? We're North America, and that's why we are in this agreement. And I'm shocked, quite frankly, that we haven't got into an American Union of some sort, by now. And maybe we are. It's just like kind of like a Cold War, you know what I mean? Well, this is kind of like the same thing, but it's there's no bullets flying, but we're not actually a one particular country, you know, or a union, but might as well be. We got an agreement in place that kind of takes care of most aspects of it. So I don't know.
I was having chat problems. I was trying to chat and it asked me to sign in. I was like, what the hell? Yeah, but anyway, I've been reading stuff, talking about financial problems coming up soon and all, but I've been reading that for years too. So I'm not taking too much heart to it. I take it with a grain of salt, I guess you'd say. I know it's always looming. It's always potentially there. So I at one time it kind of freaked me out, but now I'm just like, that may happen tomorrow. What the fuck? I can't do nothing about it. So I'm just going to live today, and I've prepped stuff. I'm prepared as about as I'm going to be, and I ain't worried about it, you know. Or not. I won't say I'm not worried about it. I'm not going to worry about it as far as bothering me.
Yeah. Well, you've taken care of the you know, the basic fundamentals, right? If you've got at least a handle on that aspect to say, well, what's important here? Well, I need to be able to stay warm. I need to be able to stay dry. I need to be able to keep my head on a swivel. I need to be able to defend myself. And I need to be able to survive. So if you can take all those things into consideration, the basics are covered. And you'll say, well, what happens, happens. Some things are bigger than me, you know. And I say, well, TR, you're a good role model, you know, because you're setting that standard out there. You can't. What can you do? Right? You make the little changes and so on. But here's the thing. We've seen this from the financial crisis, certainly in the back past there, where they were buying out, you know, people of their troubles, right? And banks were getting bailed out and so on. And when we look at this, how fast did they all come to the table to try to avert a major disaster? And they started throwing heavy things off of this sinking boat, right? And saying we gotta lighten the load here. And so they let some fail and let some fall through. And I think that they definitely learned from that. Well, Jesus, my God, I'd hope they learned something from it to avert something in the future. But some say certainly that, you know, there's so much debt that, you know, you can only kind of keep playing along. You know what I mean? And until someone says, well, we're done playing. Now, certainly with Russia and China gathering gold like crazy, you know, and even potentially putting out a gold coin as currency, I heard. I think this was Russia that was thinking about doing this, or has done it. Maybe someone could, you know, straighten me out on that. But that, to me, that would be dangerous, because they're looking to basically get away from any kind of fiat currency and go to a gold-backed currency again. And if that's the case, that could leave the U.S., you know what I mean, in some serious trouble, I think. Yeah.
See, if I could take the floor for 1 second with my Miller High Life, booyah, right there. These economical situations are totally possible. But the other thing, like with us guys in America, we have to worry about the freaking liberals chipping away at the Second Amendment. And it's to the point where, since they have the upper hand in media, social media, the news, like real news or whatever you want to call it, we are being demonized every second. So, and we have no recourse to take care of the situation. So the only thing we can do is take it down to the lowest common denominator and be like, I'm going to take care of myself. I'm going to take care of my own shit. I'm going to have to back down, because if I say anything, it's going to get flagged or whatever, because it's like with one or two generations past, it's just so demonized that, like, if you even say the truth, you're looked at as a crazy person or something.
I can't remember who it was. Somebody famous from the past at our country, if I'm not mistaken, made a quote that we're only, and I can't even remember it correctly, but the gist of it is we're only 1 to 2 generations from losing our country. And that's probably true with about any country.
And it's like it's almost overwhelming to think it's like, okay, we want to take care of our country, but like the whole world is against it, because they're involved with like the NWO, New World Order, one world, you know, that kind of thing. And it's like most of that is just propaganda, and it's a moneymaker. It's not real. It's not going to help out the individual person. So it's going to tax you more. You're going to have to pay for more stuff, and the bigger corporations are going to make money off your sweat. So it's depressing.
It's about control.
Well, but it's been the American way to certainly put your blood, sweat, and tears into something, right? And to pass that along to generations and tradition, and the strength of a constitution, for instance. What a lot of people are forgetting is that how far is that taking you guys, right? And preserving, you know what I mean, you as a people, and keeping that strength to make you what you are today. What's potentially being torn down is something that, to me, it's almost like a precursor, saying that we are going to have some financial troubles. We're going to have chaos in the United States, and we as a government, right, not of the people, but we as a government, which is something completely different from what it was supposed to be, says we need to take away some of those rights so that we can maintain what TR just said, more power. You know, and that quote I think you were talking about was maybe a Ronald Reagan quote, and I just looked it up here. Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on to them to do the same. Or one day we will spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it was once like in the United States when men were free. And also, say what you will about Ronald Reagan, certainly that's a pretty decent quote. It speaks volumes, certainly. And there's absolute truth to that. Speaking of truths, certainly what you're talking about, Midas, one person's truth is not necessarily another person's truth, and this is what we have. We have a divided America, or a divided, nation, really, and it doesn't really matter where you are. It always seems to be that way, and that I think it's always been that way. There's always been a left and always been a right to some degree, and when there's not, that's dangerous too to some degree, because what we hate about the left is something that they hate about the right, but it's a necessity too. Without that, what do we have? Well, we have no imagination, certainly, and secondly, you're encroaching, I think, communism to some degree, and it's someone is telling you how it's going to be, and you just blindly follow, right?
Yeah.
Or it's utopia, which we know is not necessarily plausible.
Yeah, utopia is impossible, but the democracy, but the whole left-right thing is a farce. We need more options, and we can't let the left or the right, since they're the biggest two, overpower them and squash their abilities or options or whatever. But it's gone too far in America, and it's like, holy crap, nation is divided. You can totally see it. A lot of people want a big government, and the other half don't. Most of us just want to be left alone.
Yeah. Well, the problem with I don't even think, at least the way I was raised, the way I think, at least the way I see things, but I've always been taught and raised and seen it as you don't have to like what somebody believes. You don't have to agree with them. You don't have to like it, but they can believe in whatever they want, and they have the freedom to do that. And the problem is the left thinks that you don't have the right to believe that, whatever it is.
Yep.
You're the bad guy because you believe that, and you think it's okay for somebody to do that, whatever it is, as long as you're not impeding on somebody else's rights. I mean, years and years ago, and I'm not promoting it, and I don't have nothing to do with it. I'm just using it as an example. It was like the ACLU and the liberals and stuff that demanded that the Ku Klux Klan could speak at a rally or have a rally or do a parade or whatever. And now they flipped around, and you are, as a conservative that just believes in freedom of speech and not I'm not getting away from the KKK. I'm just using that as an example. That was the biggest one I could think of in my youth. Now they think if you got a MAGA hat on, you should be your speech quelled. You should be able to be beaten in the street. You should, somebody should, they have the right to come after you with a baseball bat because you're a fascist.
Yep, you get labeled.
How did they flip from trying to appeal to minorities and give them, which is what the First Amendment, that's what the whole Constitution is about, is protecting minorities. That's what the whole Constitution is protecting a minority group. That's why we're not a democracy. We're a republic. It's to protect everybody's speech, not just whatever mob rules. And somehow the left has flipped around and thinking mob rule is what you got to do.
Well, it's the whole mob rule, but they only protect the speech that goes along with their agenda. Anything else is a threat. It's racist, it's terrorist, it's tyranny, whatever. But it has to go along with their thing. So they preach the First Amendment, but it's only if it goes along with what they believe.
Well, that's the problem with mob rule. It depends on what the mob wants.
Didn't you guys fight against a mob rule type of monarchy once upon a time and win? I mean, you're slowly getting taken over by that democracy once again, aren't you? Right, where mob rule is the way, and that's a monarchy for you, right? So they give you a little bit of power to vote and carry on, but the king still stays in place, mind you, or the queen in our case. Well, not so much our case, but anyway, it's complicated. But this is the danger of losing your religion, right? Or your constitution, in that sense, because it's your belief system. It's something that has carried you faithfully, I might add, right, for so very long, and you fought hard for it. Here's the thing. Some people suggest that, well, we can't have another world war because it'll get out of hand, which I can understand that, certainly. I don't think it'll get to the point of annihilation because we're getting so high tech now where I think we're past that phase of stupidity in that sense that we can go in there and put precision strikes, you know what I mean, to end conflicts and stuff like that. And it'll be a match of wars like that. But listen, the whole world, even back to Pangea, all right, has been a battle, you know what I mean, an immense battle of the tectonic plates and so on. But this is carried all the way through to certainly the formation, and in a different aspect of the world as we see it today, and that's the territories and so on and so forth being formed and the ownership of particular lands, and that has been morphed all over time through battles. To world wars and so on and so forth, into what we have today, even little proxy wars and geopolitical wars and so on. And these are the things that move us as a people. I think the dangerous part is that we'll always have that battle. But the only way that we as a colony of Earth will ever fight any other battle will be from an outside source. Now, before I go down that path too far, I'll dial it back just a touch and say that I think that we'll always have a battle. It's not just human nature; it's nature in itself. It's a must. Without it, there'll always be some kind of battle. Whether you're battling with, me and TR are battling for the same contract to go and fix a particular machine, if that was the way it was. So there was always going to be some type of battle, even in our own selves. Even on the micro. So, like I said, I think that to think that we'll never have battle ever anywhere. It's in the fabric of what we call Earth, and so we're always going to have it. It's just some people will go through life completely unscathed. It seems they allow to be led. They're a sheep. They get fed and they get to pasture at the end of their days, and they've contributed their wool. You know what I mean, throughout their lifetime. And they have a decent life in a nice pasture, and they've been always protected by the sheepdog. And there's an analogy for you that I think fits fairly well with that. So. Regardless of financial collapse or anything like that, we're in it. And, management's a big thing. But there'll always be that left and right, that tug of war. And I think it goes back and forth like a tennis match to some degree, right? One side's going to get in this term for maybe 4 to 8 years, and then the next side, it's this side. What do you do? What do you do, right? You can't win all.
Oh, okay. I'm going to take it one step farther. I saw you dance around it. You probably glanced at it a couple times, but I'm going to take you guys right down the rabbit hole. Any of you have heard of the singularity, when smart technology becomes smarter than us humans, which is probably only like 5 to 10 years away? That might be the next battle between us normal human common sense having people in AI. Like think about all like the Google things in your house, the Google and the Series, and like they're going to upgrade to like 5G, which is, I know this is going to sound crazy and conspiratorial, but like our bodies and our brains are run off electrical impulses. And when you have so much Wi-Fi and satellites pumping 5G and cell phones with 4G in your pocket next to your head, like that's going to screw up our DNA sometime. And they're not going to figure it out for like 20 years. And then it's like, okay, that's why everyone's dying. It's because we were pumping like Wi-Fi and like all these G's like through our heads when human bodies weren't made for that. And it's the same thing with the crappy food and the chemicals in the food. Our bodies are natural. We were not built to like ingest chemicals and unnatural things in our food and medicine and stuff like that. So I'm going to stop our descent in the rabbit hole right now and we can eject. So thanks for my little rant.
No, you're right. You're correct.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things. Food, like I said, electronics. There's so many things that are slowly killing us that I don't even know how to put a number on it. I've talked about it before. I don't know that it's necessarily by design, if it's evil, or if it's just greed, or if it's just a combination of all.
Combination of all. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it all makes the world go round, right? I mean, we all have our little piece of the pie. At least we hope so. Otherwise, we're unemployed too, right? So we all contribute to whatever it is, profits, corporation profits, so on and so forth. I'm no different. I don't say TR is, you know what I mean? It's certainly Midas. Anybody out there watching, certainly, and if not, you were at one time. So I can say it that way and to be complete. But, I think that you're right. There's no doubt. We could also say that 36 years was an average lifespan, certainly of a person way back when. So we're probably doing shitload better, regardless of the little changes that are happening to our infrastructure. Yeah. But certainly, Elon Musk had said something, and I really paid attention to what he had said. I watched a video. A friend of mine had recommended it to me, and he just said, "Wow." And that was all he said. So I watched it. He was talking about the dangers of artificial intelligence, certainly. And the fact that we're slowly, it's that slow boil methodology that I've talked about, certainly. And if we just stay there and they make these changes slowly, we won't jump back and go, hey, what are you doing to us, right? We won't jump back too much. And this is what we have to be very careful of, because the slow indoctrination that people will go to the voting booth with. And people have a short attention span when it comes to years, okay? And they forget things. They forget what people do wrong or bad things, and they move on, right? And then they forget about what kind of bad person they were, you know what I mean, back 20 years ago when they did something really bad. But, I mean, we're talking about technology, and I think you're right in that sense. And we look at certainly our cell phones. Our cell phones has almost made us like an android, you know what I mean, to ourselves, right? Or a cyborg, if you would. And it's so instantaneous. We ask a question and it's there. This is why the speech, you know what I mean, attributes to Google, for instance, is such an improvement with that. The only thing, and he said that we could do differently, and we're not far off, is being able to actually hook into a computer through our I guess our cortex of the brain, I guess, so that we can actually think as fast as the ideas. So when we think about something, we can think in just microseconds, but we can't communicate that to a device. Even speaking is too slow. Even texting, of course, or putting the information in by our fingers is too slow. If we could cross that bridge, man, oh man.
Yeah, but why would we want to? That's unnatural.
It's not a matter of want. It's that greed that we talked about before. If a company or a corporation can figure out how to do it, you're superhuman at that particular point. And everybody, right. It could be available to everybody. Oh man, dude, that's huge. And
yeah, but like, I don't think that technology would be the way it's going in this world. It wouldn't be released to the normal person. It would be like elites, rich, well-to-do or whatever. But not everyone's gonna succeed on like the fruits of everyone's labor, because it doesn't work like that.
But it slowly gets out there. Someone gets it. There's too much greed out there. And now there's so much of us that have access to a piece of the information that can fill in the blanks. They can fill in that missing DNA, if you would, to an idea. So, for instance, computers is a great example. Computers were out a very, very long time ago. Military had that, and for communication purposes. And eventually, here we are. We're utilizing this, and every single person has not just one computer in their home, but various different types and styles and sizes, and small enough that you can literally put it into onto your wrist, and do just incredible things. I'm a walking encyclopedia. I'm the best dad ever because I have all the answers, right? I just go into a different room, come back out, and I go, remember that question you asked me? Here's the answer. My kids think I'm great. When they get to 15 or so, I'll probably come out and tell them the actual truth. Anyway, but the point is, I'll write it out for now because I'm really enjoying being a genius in my home. No, just kidding. But my kids now, I mean, for instance, the biggest thing for me was Santa Claus. I thought, shit, it just dawned on me. My daughter can actually go to Google and just ask the damn question. So she's only 9. I want to hang on to that for a few more years, damn it. I think I've probably lost my daughter, but I think I got my son still, so that's good. My youngest, anyway. So I'll get a few more years out of that playtime. But anyways, this is it. I think that we're going to get there. And like you said, we're only probably 5 or 10 years away. And somebody even suggested we're probably about 10 years away from actually total extinction. And there's a couple of different ideologies to that. I'm not even so sure that's conspiracy as much as it is, Jesus, that's kind of probable if we're not effing careful. Like a couple of different models can I say, yeah, that could be. What if? Well, like TR said, I prepared as much as I can. Bring it on. If I can shoot it, well, guess what? I'm going to do okay.
Yeah.
If I can't shoot the problem, well, I guess we'll ride it out and see what happens.
Well, mankind, I mean, research I've looked at, mankind's almost been wiped off the face of the earth at least 4 times when you get out of Western education and really look into some deeper things and what have you. And those are ancient civilizations, and they don't even always know what might have happened there, famine, some kind of natural event. And I think the same thing will happen with us. I mean, well, not that man couldn't damn destroy ourselves in some kind of big war, don't get me wrong. But there's so many things out of our control. And, I mean, a couple big solar flares could just fuck up Earth, put us back in the Middle Ages. And ain't a damn thing we could do about it.
That's exactly it. I mean, there was that former CIA director apparently that's put a lot of time and effort the last 15 years trying to basically, continually sound the alarm to say we are not ready for this. You know what I mean? And this is an inevitability. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And here he is. He's landed, ladies and gentlemen.
What's up, everybody? Life of traveling.
That's it. Double life guy.
That's right. My James Bond-ness. How's
Isn't
everybody doing tonight?
Good. We were just talking about your different personalities and the fact that you're probably a secret agent Bond type guy with a cover of your day job kind of thing. Because you ain't at your day job enough to make it fly for me because I'm a little too smart for that. So the rest of the time, secret agent.
Check this out. So let me show you what, guys, when I have to go through this. This is part of being James Bond right here. Let me turn this around so I can tell you what our agents have to go through. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so these green lights, they basically take all your body orifice particles and make sure you're clean, deconned, and bugged, and all that good stuff.
Enema?
No, you can opt for it, but opt out on that one. I figured I'd say hi before you guys ended. I don't even know what time it is. I just got off the plane.
Wow, dude. That's crazy. You got to take that flight freaking how many times a week? Or how many times a month do you got to take that?
Once, twice sometimes. If people are commenting, I can't read anything, so I apologize for that. Yes, the great outdoors. It's going to be colder as shit out here. I already know it. Here we go.
California to North Carolina.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little chilly.
You might get some snow this weekend, Rick.
Yeah, that's what my wife was saying. In a couple of days, we should have some snow. I'm hoping the roads aren't icy on the way home.
Incredible. 12 hours ago, you were sitting basking in sunshine and freaking.
That's right. After the mission was completed. What's weird though when you're doing the secret missions is they don't play the music in the background like they do on TV.
Dude, I don't do anything without a background music. If I don't have my theme song going, I ain't doing shit.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm still trying to come up with something. So how many crazy people you got out there watching today?
39 or 40.
Well, hello, 39 or 40 people. Whew, it's cold out
not bad considering I'm on this off channel here that a lot of people don't know about.
Yeah, you're Fun Fisher.
Yeah.
You should rename that to Strike One Live Chat.
Yeah. Yeah, used to you couldn't change the name. I think you can change it now, so I may change it.
You're like TR's Plan B.
Yeah.
That's right. TR's Plan B.
Yeah, I like that one. That's good.
How's Mr. Luke doing?
He's doing all right. He's surviving, man. Try to do what I can. That's all I can do.
Are you playing in lots of snow right now?
No, actually, we're still doing all right. We did get a good heavy dusting at one point, but it went away fairly quickly. An ice storm, and again, very slight, but it shut down power for a lot of folks. But yeah, I don't know. Otherwise, it's we're not into the thick of it yet. But it's going to be a cold one this year, and I think it's going to stay not overly cold, but like we've had in the past. I think we're going to get mist in the valley here. I call it. I think that. Some southern states though they're gonna feel it this year. You guys are gonna feel a little more temperate than you normally have, I think.
All right, bring it, bitches.
Yeah,
Red's out there. He wanted me to say, Rick, is your face covered?
that's got a ring to it. I love Red.
Well, I've seen comedians talk about it, but when we start talking about the walls on the border. I think we should build a big-ass wall of the Canadian border. Keep all that damn cold air from coming down here.
Oh, yeah, deflect it.
John SoCal was trying to, WTF SoCal was trying to call. Yeah.
Of course. Rick's going to answer the phone. He'd be like, SoCal's in there. What the fuck you answer the phone for? You're on the damn live chat.
I know. He's trying to bamboozle me. I can already tell.
Bamboozle.
He's trying to bamboozle me. Yeah, this walking home thing from North Carolina to North Carolina is horrible. I'm telling you. No.
Put in the messages there in the chat. He put messing with Sasquatch.
Well, at least I only got to do this shit once or twice a month. It's all good though. I do got to say that the Carolinas are much prettier than California. Just saying.
But it is wintertime, so like December, you can't you can't expect snow, but it's going to be cold.
Yeah,
it's still probably greener than a lot of California.
Oh my God, yeah. Even when all the leaves fall and everything's brown here, it's still greener in California. At least Southern California.
Yeah, the northern part might be different. Yeah, no doubt.
The northern part's actually pretty nice. Yeah, well, right now it's all black.
And ashy.
It's funny. We went from fires to mudslides. We didn't have crazy mudslides, but they got a few inches of rain. Everybody was super worried their house was going to slide down the hill just because all the vegetation is not holding it up anymore.
Damn.
Yeah. Stars.
That's if they didn't lose their house. Man, too many people lost their lives and too many people lost their homes this year. It was crazy.
Yeah,
So
really.
by the numbers, is it getting worse out there, Rick, or is this a fluke year? Or
This year alone has set records in every aspect of it. Most damaging, largest, most lost, most life lost. I mean, this year's been freaking crazy. So hopefully it's not the norm and continues on getting worse. But according to Trump, the leaves, we got leaves, so we need to start raking them all up. Which is kind of a silly quote, but that's what he said.
I did see that. I wished someone would have pulled the plug on that camera at one point, because I'm like, I'm looking at him going, what did he just say? I'm going, okay, someone stop him. Jesus, someone in this cat. Man, he's tired. He's not prepared. Obviously, he's not thinking straight.
Yeah,
well, I some news stories that even California, the governor, and I know the loggers and a lot of people supported. Well, I won't say supported, but even the governor had to admit that, yeah, we need to do a little bit better of taking care of our forest and stuff.
Well, what's crazy is most of that was SRA. It was state land. It wasn't forest.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of it. Well, TR, if my truck starts, you don't have to pick me up. How's that?
All right.
The light turned on, so that's a good thing. It's cold out here. Oh, it's only 40. That ain't bad. I'm just sissified from being in California, I think.
Yeah, you got to readjust again.
Yeah, it started. Woo! Oh. Well, gentlemen, I don't want to. I'm gonna get going, and I gotta head up the 25, which my phone service is gonna suck ass.
All right, man.
You guys have a wonderful night, and stay safe, stay warm, and see you guys soon enough. I'll listen on the outside.
All right, welcome back to a free state.
That's right, back in America. Yeah,
hell yeah!
I can feel it. I got a gun right here. Hell yeah, America.
Love it.
Bye.
See you 6. Take care, buddy.
Bye.
Later. That is quite a cultural difference.
Yeah.
It is, though. I'm not even down there, but Jesus, just from listening to y'all down there and watching videos, I mean, my God, I can tell. He's so right when he says, welcome back to America. That's great. Yeah. California looks.
I'm not a religious person, but I think God was punishing California.
Oh, shit, something's going wrong. It's like karma's a bitch. Right? Someone needs to make that meme if it's not already made, right? Fuck with their Second Amendment. Karma's a bitch, you know.
Yeah.
That's it. No, you still have a Second Amendment. We're just going to regulate the shit out of it, you know. I don't know. It's what it is. If it's legal up here, it's regulated. What legal means is that we're going to let you do something and regulate the hell out of it.
Yeah. Well, they're trying that. I mean, they're trying that here. I mean, in some instances, we've gained freedoms, but overall, I would say a lot of stuff's been restricted. I think sometimes it's carried a little bit too far. How people scream and yell about it, but I mean, I get where they're coming from. But I mean, the bad thing is the places where we are pretty free, people are trying to take it from us. I mean, it just really don't make sense. We're talking about the left-right thing and what have you. It blows my mind. I'm just like, I have a hard time sometimes wrapping my head around people wanting to tax themselves and people wanting to take freedoms from themselves. I have a hard time comprehending that. But I know it was just the way I was raised, the way my thinking process goes, my understanding of the Constitution, understanding the history. And then you have people that have no understanding of the Constitution, no grasp of history, why we fought wars, why the Constitution was written, why it was written the way it was written. They have no concept of it. I guess they wasn't taught it. It just didn't sink in. They just got through that class with a D, if they taught it at all. And they're just believing the hype and propaganda shoved down their throat, and they just latch onto it. I'm not getting too deep. I know we've probably talked about this many times, Luke, on the other chats. It's almost I'm going to throw a little theory out there, and then we can pass by or talk about it, however you want to. There is a need for, I think, a basic human need for people to be part of something. And a lot of young people, especially, want to be a part of something. And the young mindset is very liberal, and people latch onto that just to be part of the group. I think there's something to that, is how far things have gotten to. I mean, I know that's in a nutshell, just a shorthand version of it, but I think there's some of that going on, why so many youth jump on these bandwagons.
I would agree with that 100%. And it's a human nature. You're absolutely right. And it's not just enough to be a part of a group. You have to have a talking point so that you can have dialogue within that group. So then you start targeting the information that is attractive to that group, and it just perpetuates, right? Sadly, as it is. And so, some degree, you can't almost help to feel sorry for certain people, I guess, in that sense. And even just general people, they're good people. They go there and they do their part. They pay their taxes. They would stop for anybody on the side of the road or whatever the case is. They're just a good person. But they have an indoctrination, certainly. They've come to understand that certainly this is a fact, and this is a fact. Because I got it from one source that I trust, or one set of, information, people anyway, or one source of media. And they keep gathering that from that sense. And so, yeah, they're educated. They listened. They actually took some time to actually listen to the point that was being talked about. Unfortunately, they didn't get an opposing side to it. And so it's very shallow in that sense, but it definitely feeds the agenda that has sucked them in to begin with, that group that you talked about, TR, and that sense of belonging and that sense of dialogue, because they have that dialogue. Certainly what we do, I guess, to some degree, isn't it? I like to think that we're a little more around it when we have these discussions and we open it up, you know what I mean, to people that not necessarily people that we would have over to our house every weekend per se, or would want to break bread with every day. So I don't know, maybe it's a bad example to say that, because I mean, I'd break bread with any of you guys for the most part. But I don't think that I don't know, I say that, but I guess that's maybe a little sheltered to say that we're not one-sided, that we do look at it from different perspectives.
Well, I watched just what you're talking about. Now, it was very limited. It was just a quick little video. And I actually kind of really, I think it's pretty universal, or at least in America, whatever. But it's just one of these like campus video kind of deals, I forget who done it, whatever. But they went and they found, like I said, it's campus, most of it, or is in a college town. Let's just say that. And they found people that were liberal. They picked out the ones. I guess I don't know if they asked them or whatever, and asked them if they would they be friends with Republicans or conservatives. I think they use both terms, a conservative or a Republican. And now it might be just the ones they showed, but being based on how we've seen things in the last few years, I'd say it's fairly true. But, could you be friends with a conservative or Republican? Every fucking one of them said no. I mean, to the point to where it's like, so you're saying you couldn't be a friend, you wouldn't be friends with me? And a couple of them was like, no. And then they found people kind of conservative and what have you. And every one of them said, well, yeah, I could be friends with a Democrat or a liberal. And we may not agree, but as long as we could have a discussion without screaming at each other, I would be okay with that. And I think we have found that to be Not 100% true, but I bet that's fairly true.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, I would agree 100%. I think it's what it's enjoyable, right? It makes sense to us to some degree. It's civil to the most degree, and I think that it only accents what you already know, concretes a little bit what you knew for sure, and you learn something along the way too. I can't even begin to tell you how much I've learned. I'm a better person. There's no doubt about it from sitting in on these chats, listening to these types of chats, and listening to the content that's out here, and giving me the option to actually have a lot of different viewpoints. Some that are extremely well researched, and some that are just that, their opinions based on what they know today, right? Um, and I think that, wow, that's just the world we live in, isn't it? I mean, we're just expanding it. Like, certainly, like, that was said earlier. We found some of our greatest friends to date from this box here, from YouTube, and some of them we may not even meet. I got Mark from Scouting Free. We're super close, and he has been for almost 5 years now, and I haven't met the man yet, right? I've never shook his hand, and but again, he's from a different culture, a different side of the world, in essence, and he has different viewpoints. I think it's a little obtuse to say that, hey, I wouldn't be a friend with a liberal. I wouldn't be friends with an individual because they just had too much else going against them. Not so much their thinking point on a particular political subject. I can see where it would be abrasive at times, and where you'd think, you know what, we're not going to see eye to eye on this. And if you're both not adult or civil enough, it could certainly interfere in a friendship. Those people have said, no way, that's a closed-minded individual. And I'm going to make some enemies here, perhaps, certainly, and I don't mean to, you know what I mean? And I think TR can vouch for me in that sense. But there was a clip from a movie that I seen. They said, why isn't America, the greatest country in the world anymore? And he names all the facts as to why it is. Statistically, it's not the greatest country when you're looking at it from a statistic point of view. You can certainly say it's the greatest country in the world because you live there and you feel all the things you feel, and everything is based on a feeling. So, like I said, it's interesting. I think, and it's like I said, everything else, it's bound to change. It has to evolve. If it doesn't evolve, then there's something terribly, terribly wrong, or we're all dead. So.
I can say that I have liberal and Democrat friends, and mostly work associates, I would say. It's not like people I really hang out with a lot, but actually I have went to events and little parties and stuff, and they know I'm conservative. There's no doubt. And I know they're liberal or Democrat or whatever, but we know that, and maybe it's because we're deep South, and so that Southern hospitality kicks in. So we just don't talk about politics. It's sad that you can't, but I know, well, I work with these people. I'm friends with them. There's no reason to make an enemy here. And I don't like not being able to talk about it. But even with that being said, I have talked about it like a little bit. But and I'm sure where they were doing this video was probably not trying to down any parts of the country, but it was probably in California or up north somewhere where there's a bigger friction, I guess you'd say. And so I don't know, but definitely through these chats, even being on the conservative side, we've definitely had in past chats opposing views. And I've changed my mind several times just from seeing it a different way. Like you said, a different education level on it. Somebody's researched something better, especially when we was doing David's chats. Holy shit, that's a genius. I mean, I shouldn't say he's a genius, but he's a very smart man. And I respect his opinion greatly.
Yeah, without a doubt. That's the other thing is that I felt that some of these places that certainly I've been to in the past in YouTube, I've been able to watch certainly or be involved with in conversations. You surround yourself with people who are intelligent in their craft, you know what I mean, or their genre or their area. Man, you can take away some serious knowledge and feel good about that knowledge, and giving it to you in such a way that if you want to and be responsible, you can go and check on some of the information to say, yeah, I can verify that. You do that a few times and you go, the person's on the right path. It's okay. I value their opinion, like you said. That's epic. Hey, you know what? Just these Google Hangouts is a testament to the fact that we're all well-rounded people because I don't know. you guys let a Canadian in, a German in, and you know, a few other people into the chats over the years. So what the hell? My God, that's
You let me in.
And, you know, and not to put labels on anybody or whatever else. I mean, this whole Tuesday night chat started with Rosie.
yeah.
Be that there more.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That's right. And but Rosie's, and again, it comes down to it's like, well, either an interesting person, you're a decent person, you know what I mean? You're an intelligent person, or you got a little bit of everything else to come into a chat with, and you're civil, and you know how to sit in a chat. Well, then you'll do okay, you know. And everybody brings a little something. I find I'm sure I bring a Canadian flag and maple syrup, but you know, that's always a good thing. I think to every party. It's biased certainly, but nevertheless. But what Rosie brings to the table is, you know, a wealth of knowledge, and it's just ready, you know, and so well read and current. You know, that's the other thing. David, same thing. You know what I mean? And when we're talking about firearms, a lot of trusted people. Like, you know, when I'm thinking about it, I don't have as much exposure, quite frankly, to different firearms that you guys have down there. So I learn a shit ton, and then still sit at the end of the chat with my mouth drawn open because I'm sitting there going, "Well, you sure are free down there, I must say." So,
well, it's good to have a big variety. And like I say, we've been lucky enough to have been on a lot of chats with a lot of different perspectives and backgrounds, and can discuss and sometimes argue a little bit, but still friends at the end of the chat, you know. But that's on our side of it, and we can do that and be civil about it, you know.
yeah.
And we should be able to do that with the other side, you know.
Well, I said this, you know, and it was one chat, or not chat, but it was a video I put. It was over half an hour long. It was a rant. I had to, though. There's so much was going on, and I didn't have a lot of time. I hadn't uploaded a video in a long time, but I just did it, driving video. I talked about just that. Just said, it fucking just pisses me off that people just, they take some 2 minutes of information, they fucking run with it like they got the fucking almighty truth. I've got the holy grail of information, and here it is, and I have generated a feeling inside, and now I'm going to go do something about it. Good for you. However, did you just take a time to just make sure that you were right? Just to look over the other side and say, so that's what the other side's saying, is it? Jesus, that doesn't sound right. Thank you for just taking a second. Just a second. Check this. Just simply type it into Google. What's the other side saying? You know what I mean? I go back to the flat earth and I go, well, hang on. Just check it out for a minute. Who knows? At least then you can say when somebody says to you, well, the earth is round. You know that. Well, hang on a second. There's some information you haven't received maybe. I don't know. Anyways,
I did try to look into that, and I was like, "This has got to be a joke." Not looking into it, I was like,
Okay, I'm gonna bust the whole fucking conspiracy right now. You got a flat Earth, and it rides on the back of this thing called the galactic turtle, the world turtle. So when you Google it, Google flat Earth world turtle, and you'll see how the flat Earth rides on the back of this huge turtle going through the galaxy. You'll see the truth, and you'll be one with us.
That's one of the craziest ones I've heard. I mean, flat Earth, anything. If you look into it, it'll be like serious. I mean, they're dead serious. And but
it's not even a flat Earth. It's on a fucking turtle. What? What the hell?
But I will admit, one of them I was on when I was looking into it, you know, I was looking at different websites, and I was just curious, you know, what this mentality is. And I did hit this one forum, you know, where you just people post questions or statements or whatever, you know, like old time internet forums. And somebody did admit, and they were like one of the moderators or something, you know, and it was like, just go with it, you know, to the point where it didn't flat out say it, but it's like, yeah, it's a joke. Just roll with it, you know?
Yeah. It's the same thing with like the people that we didn't land on the moon. It's like, all right, okay, you know, I'm not going to be able to convince you. You can't convince me. Let's just go with it.
Yeah.
Well, it's like in the justice system, you know, he who comes with the most evidence usually comes away as the victor. And that's just the reality. So if you can feed somebody enough information, they'll believe the lie or they'll believe the truth, whatever it is. I mean, and it could be their truth, and it'll turn into their truth, even if it's a lie. So it's a psychological thing to some degree, right? You give more
Well,
information.
yeah,
you get-
it's all depends on how many times you repeat the lie, and then it becomes a truth. And that's not to mention the Smith-Mundt Act that was repealed by Obama, which lets the government and news, like national news agencies, repeat lies and not be held accountable for it, which is called propaganda. So.
Oh, it definitely been onslaught of propaganda, no
oh,
doubt.
that's the propaganda has been alive since what? Which World War was that? I mean, that was I think it was
In and around
It was
Bernays.
two. It was like some German dude,
yeah,
and
World War
like
II.
he started with the news, but it also that's where the term assault rifle came from. They had that I can't pronounce it properly, but it's like the Sturmberger or whatever. But the Nazis named that the assault rifle to try to install fear upon their enemies, and that's the term assault rifle came from the Nazis, and the liberals are using it today to try to install fear in our people.
Oh, without a doubt. Propaganda. Well, I think it was Edward Bernays that was basically the creator of it. Certainly, to some degree, it made it mainstream. You know, and it was certainly a war tool. And it's gone on to our governments and so on, and we certainly do it even to our children. I mean, parents do it to their children with the smallest thing. Santa Claus would be a pretty good example of that, I guess, to some degree, wouldn't it? You feed them enough
Right.
information, and you make it feel all cushy and cozy and stuff like that, and they believe the lie, right? But it is, in fact, it's a lie. You're taking your child down the garden path, but it's for a greater good. At least we feel it is, and I think suggested it probably is. So it's not hurting anything, and certainly it's a nice fantasy, a nice childhood thing.
Well, like the tale of Santa Claus is a lot different than like the hoax of no gun zones. You know, there's a huge difference.
Yeah, well, I think I don't have kids, but just remembering my childhood memory. All right, I won't get into it. But I was listening to some talk radio anyhow, and they got into talking about. All right, well, I'll just skip that. Anyway, let's just say using the Santa Claus thing, I'm kind of going off tangent here, but kind of what you're teaching your kid is delayed satisfaction.
Mm-hmm.
If you were good, and mind mommy and daddy, Santa Claus will bring you some gifts at the end of the year. Now it's forever when you're a kid, no doubt. And but you're teaching them to prepare today and tomorrow and the next day for a end goal instead of instant gratification. Because the thing I was listening to was talking about the difference between, was talking about separated families and, not downing women, but they were talking about anyway, instant gratification, whereas fathers generally follow through with their rules, at least more so than moms. And they got into some stats and stuff. We don't have to get into all that. We ain't got time for all that shit. But, there's some truth to it. And the Santa Claus thing, I'm not saying that's why it was developed. That's not why they kept it or whatever. But I do see it as a tool to teach children a life lesson in delayed gratification.
Right.
Work
Be
hard,
good,
this.
or Santa will know. And
yeah.
If
you break it down that way, yeah, it's propaganda or whatever, but you're teaching values to your children.
Yeah.
So I say it's a good thing.
Yeah, I would see that as being very probable, considering it's been something that's been held on to for some time. I mean, you think about it. We've done this with religion. I mean, without getting into too much, offensiveness to anybody particularly, but there certainly has been theorized. Certainly, religion has been put in place for that purpose as well, for control and basically some self-accountability and so on and so forth to police the people in general, a society, so that we could live in harmony to some degree. A set of rules that everybody blanketed everybody, and there was some kind of discipline to it that would find you and you felt accountable, so that individual people weren't having to be policed all the time. We do it now even with our current law enforcement. That roaming patrol car, they don't know where he's going to be, but he's going to be around every corner getting ready to nail you for your seatbelt, going over the posted speed limit, or driving impaired. So, and it was effective. Getting pulled over every once in a while and getting a ticket, that's effective, right? And so I think that the Santa Claus thing is a really good analogy in the sense that you're going to have to be responsible for yourself. If you do good things and you're good all year, at the end of it will be reward. Maybe not in the sense of what Santa Claus is, but if you think about it, is that I went an entire year and I didn't get money taken away from me. Well, that's kind of a reward, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know. So that's pretty decent. Pay your taxes and you don't get in trouble with the tax man. And that ideology, I think, has worked really, really well, right? So,
yeah, well, I have a problem with that because it's not warranted. At least in America, they are wasting our tax money. We work hard, we sweat, we spend hours, we pay these guys to inflate whatever they want to have fun with and fuck around and waste our hard-earned money. In America, they waste our taxes. It's a sad thing.
Are you talking about police?
I'm talking about everything, every government agency, every like alphabet army, the CIA, like FBI, like everybody.
Yeah, well,
everybody.
I know where you're coming from.
Yeah,
but I'd say with police, I know I've talked about it with blue and stuff like that.
Well, dude, before you go into the police, like the whole Russia conspiracy, like the Mueller.
Oh yeah.
The Mueller thing. Our taxes are paying for his bull crap.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, oh, it's such a waste. Such a waste.
Our government is so huge and so out of control that, unfortunately, the only way to get control of it again is it would all have to crash.
100% replacement.
Or total loss of faith in the government. Because look, you've got at least half, if not better, believing in the system as it stands. Even if you don't fucking like it, you think that there's a winning shot, so you still go and vote. Right? And I know, TR, I'm not going to get into it with you on this particular show. We don't get enough time. But I mean, what the fuck was it? What does it matter who you vote for? What does it matter who gets in? The same game's still being played, and this game, quite frankly, has been slowly fucking you old people over. So, and us people too, quite frankly. But think about it: what has really changed? Nothing. Does it really matter which party's in place? You still seem to be going in the same direction, which is not a real particularly great direction, or at least on the particular jut off or plane that you're now over here. Some new president gets in, makes another detour, and you're now on this freaking realm of things. But you're on a straight line. You're still going that way. But maybe that way is not necessarily a great thing.
No, that's the one world order, like where the whole planet is the same thing, and like some guy in China is regulating how you live your life in freaking South Carolina. It's bullcrap. You know, we do not we're a sovereign nation for a reason. This country became the way it did for a reason. You know, and we are losing our rights like every day, and it's I don't know if people are ever going to fucking stand up and actually take that shit back or let it whittle down. It's crazy.
It'll collapse. That's what'll happen. It'll collapse one way or another. Eventually, it will collapse. Whether it's man-made or nature, one of the two, it's going to collapse. I think that as far as man-made, like I said, I ain't saying Trump's a savior or whatever, but just think if it went the other way, it would just be a quicker fall.
Yeah.
Yeah, it may just be postponing. It's just postponing the. I know I'm probably going to fuck it. The inevitable, whatever. I can't.
Inevitable.
Yeah, just postponing it is all it's doing. And you would hope, you have hope that, well, maybe we can steer it the right way. But the problem is, just like you're talking about, government bureaucracy, is our government is so fucking huge. I don't know that it can't be reined in.
Yeah,
it really can't.
It can't. It can't. Yeah. So someone's got to be like, it can't. It's like it's an uphill battle.
It would have to be something so monumental to change the direction of what it is, or even the way it's ruled, or any of it, quite frankly. It's locked right in your Constitution, same as it is in our Charter of Rights and Freedom. The very first thing you see in those freedoms is basically how you secure your government, and how you have rights to make sure you have a government. I mean, fuck, that's right there. So to me, it's like, that's almost a problem. If there's a problem with your Constitution, it's probably in that first part, quite frankly, the one that basically gives you the rights to have a government, right? And to make sure that nobody can take those rights away from you. They don't seem to fuck with that one too much, do they? Ever? You know what I mean? It's like, well, we got to make sure we have a government. I think a government's important, don't get me wrong, because if you're going to have a society built on the way society's built, you have to have government to manage it all, so you have roads and so on and so forth, and it makes sense. It has to be honest, and it has to be done by the absolute smartest people, not the people who have the most money, not the people who are backed by the people who are going to allow that government to fuck you over, but the people who actually were smart.
Yeah,
the best person for that job.
Well, see, that's where it's all gone wrong, because none of those people are real people. They're all politicians. It's like the only way to rise above and fix everything is to have 100% replacement with actually real people that grew up in an actual life, that had to like work a wage earning job, that had to like worry about bills and rent and like power and whatever. But the whole race of politicians is what has gotten us here. So the only way we can fix it is if normal people take over, which is I don't think it'll happen.
I don't think so either. Main problem, like I said, it's already locked into your Constitution. That can is going to be continually kicked and kicked and kicked. And God help us if that's actually the problem. The very first thing that's in your Constitution is locked into place. Is just that language that secures that government. Well, that's the same can. And so what you're talking about, and again, it's the person before them, just like when we're driving a car and you're teaching your 16-year-old kid how to drive a car. It's the motherfucker sitting here, you know what I mean, who's actually teaching this young person. Yep. If this person doesn't have it right, then guess what? It's never going to start right, and it's never going to end right. And so the same with the government. If that government personnel is corrupt, who's teaching the next one to come in, they go, wow, I'm really excited. We're going to be good. We're going to work for the people. And they go, hold on a second, son. I've already been here 20 years. Let me explain to you how it really works, okay? Now you keep that fantasy there. You can tell your folks and your friends there. Sign here because you're going to have to. Yeah, that says you have to tell that story. Now let me show you actually how we really do it. This is really how it goes. Let me come over here and we'll talk to some lobbyists. That's where we start. I'm just saying, maybe it's not like that, but I think that
it's closer than that than, what I hope for.
Yeah, it's sad, right? So
I think something else that we're not gonna carry on too much about it. But anyway, every event that has happened in American history to bring us together, other than the revolution, just in the last 150 years or so, everything that has a major event, Civil War, stock market crashing, maybe not necessarily World War I, but World War II, 9/11. There's things that brought the country together. Well, Civil War was divided us, but it ended up, once it was over with, giving the government more power. After World War II, the country got together, but what it ended up doing is causing the industrial military complex. It gave the government more power. 9/11 brought the country together, but the sad thing is then we gave up more rights and the government got bigger. So the things that bring us together, somehow the government always gets bigger.
Oh, that's by design. I'm almost sure of that shit. Look, necessity is killing the three birds with one stone, right? They go there, they get a greater foothold in a particular area to secure its resources or to secure trade, okay, and to maintain that trade. So that's one thing. Then they've got another aspect of creating jobs and wealth within the country, right? Creating jobs, creating wealth, that industrial freaking military aspect of it, certainly industrialized and has made America great again in some degree, which kind of worried me. I'm thinking, shit, maybe this is the back door into another problem, because the way to make America great again would be creating a lot more industry to call those companies back home again. What better way of doing that is sitting, it comes some kind of major threat, but I don't think we're going to have another war to that extent. I say that and I hope not, because the only people I could think of that's going to be involved in that would be Russia and China. And if they team up, that would be a problem. That would be a real big problem.
Yeah, I could take you guys down the rabbit hole and talk about like prophecies of Werner von Braun and stuff, and say there's going to be a First World War, there's going to be a Second World War, and the Third World War is going to be with something that's fake and extraterrestrial. So just wait for that shit, bro.
Well, you can't say it's impossible.
Dude, no, you can't say it's possible. And how much of a coincidence that Trump started the Space Force. And even Reagan said, wouldn't it be, the only thing that would unite everyone in the world is if there was a threat from outside.
Well, even the Pope has talked about aliens.
And if they're real or if it's a fake. Like, we don't know yet. So I don't know. It's crazy. That's all rabbit hole stuff, but I feel like just bringing it up.
I've read a lot about that stuff.
Yep.
I'm a conspiracy theorist, Yep. But a lot of it really conspiracy. It's just taking facts and stuff, and it's like, these possibilities, and I mean, there's a lot to it. I mean,
yeah, it all depends on how much time and effort you want to go down there, but it's not all just fantasy. Like, there is messed up shit going on in this world.
Well, there's another guy, I can't think of his name. Oh shit, it was in the 1800s, and there's been some people say that it's been debunked, but then again, it just depends on who you're looking at and whatever. But the guy talked about I won't say he was a big KKK guy, but I could be wrong on that. But I think he was a Civil War general or something. But anyway, he talked about he talked about World War II, and he also talked about how Islam, there would be a great war between Islam and Western world, I should say. I forget exactly how he worded it. I can't think of the guy's name, but anyhow, it was laid out. If you look at the letter, it's like, damn, all this shit just happened.
Yeah,
like it would, and it was written in like the late 1800s or something, or early 1900s. I forget.
Well, I mean, like I said at the beginning of the show there, what I've been doing lately is kind of looking at some of the facts and of certain events that have taken place throughout history and saying, well, hang on a second. We've been told one story on this, but is there an actual opposite side? And I was actually shocked at certain events that there's an opposing story here. And some of it actually makes a lot of sense. And I've only been into a couple of different theories so far. And I'm not going to speak to any of them directly because I haven't been educated enough on it yet. But again, it comes back to even current media today. What can you consider to be a reliable source? And how much digging do you have to do before you can confidently, at the end of the day, say, yes, I'm jumping on that bandwagon. That's me. I'm a flag waving freaking flat earther. So when that's it. Either you follow your belief in something, you find it to be a truth, or you find it more probable. And then you jump on and say, okay, well, yeah, that's me. That represents me, or something I think about as being true. So I think we can be fooled on so many different levels that, like I said, I think a person could go batshit crazy just trying to keep up with everything to be truly responsible with it.
So I knew somebody would pop it up there if I explained it good enough. Truth Free's got it. It's Albert Pike is the guy I was talking about. This letter that laid out the things that need to happen or is going to happen, and it's like, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I seen that Truth Free talking about the CERN opening ceremony. Yeah, that's I'd say lean toward evil shit going on. Luckily,
talk about evil shit. They have already, I think it was China, released that they had a genetically altered baby. The dude went in and messed with the DNA and hatched a baby. So it's like we're way past freaking the line, And it's only a matter of time when it's like there's going to be a correction because we're doing stuff we're not supposed to do.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt about that. I mean, that's what they're alluding to. They're trying to make it so they can have a place on Mars, so they can take human civilization, because it's inevitable. Eventually, we're going to get hit by something. Eventually, now whether it's 1,000 years from now or if it's freaking 200 years from now, if that's the case, and or we make ourselves extinct by some rhyme or reason. There's so many informations. There's one information that says and improves it, and it sounds pretty plausible that the population will never go over 11 billion people, right? It's just mathematically impossible. It won't happen. And certainly David talks about the fact that nothing is forever. You know what I mean? Something has to stop at some particular point. So human population would certainly fit to that if everything else, natural world, there's no such thing as infinity, except I guess even space has a stopping point. So, or the solar, or the galaxy, or the universe, or whatever. So my point is that it could stop. Are we crude enough to think?
No, it's not that it could. Maybe it should, because it's natural. Everything has a start and an end. So it's like, who are we to think we're above? We thinking we can beat it. Like maybe,
right?
Everything has a time limit. That's part of the definition of life.
Wow, you're almost supporting religion there to some degree. God has a plan. God has a plan.
Maybe it's God. Maybe it's just natural, like life. Nothing lives forever. Everything, grows up from a baby. Goes through midlife, gets old, and then passes away. So, who's to say that's not us on a smaller scale in the bigger scale of things? We're just a planet Earth in a galaxy, in a universe of how many other Earth-like planets.
I can tell you this without a shadow of a doubt. Eventually, our sun is going to turn into a red giant, and it's going to engulf Earth.
Yeah.
Not to be here forever.
And there's nothing we can do about it.
It might be 10 million years from now, but it's going to happen.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to get you to put your money where your mouth is then, TR. You want to put some money on that?
No, but that's part of nature. There's nothing we can't affect the sun.
There's no way man's just going to stay on Earth and live for the next millions of years. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
No, that's right.
It's just,
I mean, look, if let's just say that the person who made the Georgia Stones, certainly TR, you've been there, you know it. If he knew something, he or she or they, knew something that nobody else knew, let's just say, or they could predict something. They said, you know what, we're telling you these rules, these are smart rules. You all should listen to me, right? And you should do it now. Pull the Band-Aid now, because if you don't, what you're headed for is something beyond all imaginable. You can't imagine. You will make the planet extinct if you keep on the path you are. Go now to this point, do this, and you'll be fine. But what if they're right? I mean, that's what I'm saying. Well, what if they're right? How do you decide? They didn't give you any freaking roadmap on how to do it. You know what I mean? Nice of them. It's like, here's the rules. You get to it. Well, how? Well, that's something you're going to have to sort out. Assholes. But I'm just saying. I mean, something simple like that, for instance. All right.
Yeah, but you're splitting the difference between something that's like mental and more metaphysical and religious, like getting to that point, or are you talking about the actual physical life where we're going to try to find the perfect sustainability or whatever that other term is, and like succeed that way? There's two different levels. It's like, are you going to like live life, or are you going to find the next level in your mindset?
Right. Well, I don't necessarily mean that what they see something down the road, like in a theatrical kind of notion, but more by the numbers. And so let's say it's somebody who's really smart with the numbers and looks at a little stat, and they've done that, and they've had a group of people that have done nothing but look at the numbers, and they go, there's other cultures that look at nothing but the Bible, or there's nothing but, they just research. That's all they research. They're researching about the numbers, and they're statistically and everything, and looking at it from a compounded, sense of things, predictabilities. we think it's most probable that this is going to take place in these types of numbers. And then they've figured it all out, and they said, hey, you know what? This is what you need to do. We've looked at it from a common sense approach. We've taken religion, we've taken culture, everything out of it, and looked at it from a common sense approach. Now, I'm not suggesting the Georgia Stones are just that. I don't know enough about them, but I'm just using it as an example, mostly because I know TR certainly stood in front of them, you know. So, and certainly not to stir the pot with anybody or suggest that they're right. But I'm saying is that that's the type of mindset you almost have to have, and looking at it from a, you know, an objective standpoint to say, hey, well, what if, you know, let's play that out. Let's play that out, not in real life, but let's play it out on the table. And what does that look like if we do that? You know, is that sensible? Or is that too much like playing God? Or is it manageable in a natural way?
No, because I almost see it being common sense. Like, yeah, you step over line, get out of the box, and be like, Georgia Guidestones, that's some crazy stuff. But is it so wrong? You know, it's not wrong. You know, it does sound extreme, and you know,
I think
depends on how everything is like gotten to that point. But it seems like common sense. You can't overpopulate a world and expect to, you know, feed it.
Well, I'll give you a stat. We're gonna have to wrap this up. I'll give you a stat. I ain't saying it'd be comfortable and it'd be a good way to live, but just a stat. Every person in the entire world could fit in Texas and live.
Is that a fact?
Yeah.
Or would it be like a Lollapalooza shoulder to shoulder type thing?
If you filled the entire state of Texas with like skyscrapers, every person in the entire world would fit in Texas.
Well, yeah, that's like a super metropolitan, like,
yeah, you know, it would be a way to go. And you know, when people talk about how overpopulated the world is and blah 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 blah, if you built, you know, 50-story tower, you know, skyscrapers, and then use the rest of the earth to farm and all that to feed everybody.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, I'm not saying fucking yard.
I was gonna say.
I'm just talking about just crunching numbers. You know, you could fit the entire population of the world in Texas.
Yeah, you could put all the people in Texas, but you'd have to use the rest of it to like farm and feed everybody.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's plausible or doable or should be done. It's just we get overwhelmed with numbers and how actually big Earth is. You know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. But you know, here's the thing. Like I said, if you follow Georgia Time or the Georgia Time Stones, the Georgia Stones, you would. And if they said, well, we got to pull the Band-Aid, so let's gather everybody up. We're going to draw straws. Shit. You know what I mean? It's like...
I forget the exact number. It's been a while since I saw it. It's keep the world population down to...
500 million.
500 million or 300 million.
500 million.
In other words, you have to exterminate like 9/10 of the world or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's it. And arbitrary laws, I mean, some of that stuff makes sense, certainly. But... like I said, I think of a lot of it makes sense. That's why I said, well, maybe look at it from a common sense approach and a statistical point of view. Yeah. And this is how they come up with those rules to live by. Maybe they knew something we didn't, right? But
well, that's why the Georgia Guidestones are kind of trippy, because you can see the truth in it.
Well, I can see the truth that they want a one-world government.
and it could end up being that way by default anyways. Like I said, if AI takes over, AI is not going to look at the importance of having actual borders and what it's like to be native to your soil. It's going to be what's efficient, what makes sense, what's actually going to take care of the job, you know, what's going to take to get the business done. I think that would be the danger of that to some degree. And they would start making decisions for everybody.
Well, that's what I was talking about earlier, the singularity. It's when technology becomes smarter than us and takes over. It's possible. It's totally possible the way we're going.
Oh, yeah. And here's the problem. We got back. You got to think about the common sense thing and looking at both sides. scientists need to watch more movies. How many fucking movies have we already made that shows that machines will take over our ass and kill us?
Yeah.
It ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
They need
It's
to
not good. It's
chill
not
out.
good.
Oh my God, that's so well said, right? It's like, those people that say, "Jesus, have you not watched a horror movie?" And yet you're in the horror movie, and first thing I'm going to be telling you is, "Jesus, don't open the door." Why would you?
Yeah.
Why would you not learn that by now?
Or don't split up. Never split up. Damn it. You know, it's like you got a group of people like, okay, you go over there and you go. No, stay together, please.
I posted a little picture. I was working on a robot one day, and I was in the panel and all that, and it was one of these servo drives, and there was a switch, and beside the switch it said Terminator on. And I was like, holy shit, we got sky cap right here. If I flip this switch, it's over.
Hell no.
Oh, that'd have been funny as hell to see that.
All right. Anyhow, let's wrap this up. It's past 11:30. We've gone about 2 hours. Actually, it was getting pretty deep conversation there. But
Yeah.
I know the audience is dwindling down, so it's getting late on Tuesday night. So I'll let y'all do an outro. Luke, it was good seeing you. I'll try to remember to send you a link in 2 weeks when I do it again.
Yeah, do that. I like I said, I get excited when you do driving videos. By the way, I watch them. Right, I never have the ability to do it because I'm driving while I watch them. I'm gonna be honest with you. As soon as I see them, boom, I nail them right away. I love them because it's off the cuff, and you're either you're hot and passionate about something, or it's just some good information. But so do some more of those if you don't mind. So it'll make up in case you forget to invite me with one of these suckers. But man, I'm sorry to hear that channel thing happened to you. I hope that gets rectified soon. Certainly really soon. This is working. Obviously, you got a good following coming up behind you there. Great panel to step into tonight. Really had a lot of fun with it. And so thanks. Yeah, I really appreciate that. Stay safe, everybody. For sure. Do your thing.
Yeah, thanks, Luke. I appreciate it. Well, the good thing about if you do listen to those rants, you don't have to see it so much as it's just listening to it. It's about like a chat. So that's okay.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Midas, glad to have you on here, buddy.
Well, I'm glad you did have me on here, and thanks for the link, TR. Good to see you, Luke. I had a good time, and I know we talked about a wide range of topics. I know we even went deep on a couple of things, but it's really good to spend time with you guys. And there's a whole bunch of great people out in the side chat. They've been there for so long, so I'd like to give props to them. And thanks for having me on. Had a good time.
No problem. Yeah, we definitely covered a wide range. I enjoy these chats where we go from one side of the whatever you want to call it to the way over here, and have a laugh somewhere in between,
Yeah, good stuff.
I enjoy it. And you're right. We got a great side chat, and you guys are great guys and gals out there. I appreciate y'all following me over here. A little bit of a glitch there, but I'll be back to my channel here at the beginning of next year sometime. But until then, I'll be back here 2 weeks from now, and we'll see you then. And thanks for stopping by. Later, everybody.